There are some application of Hahn-Banach theorems which are very important. Now, first application is the statement of the theorem is let n be a non-linear space and x0 is some non-zero vector belongs to n, then there exists a functional f0 in n star such that f0 x0 is equal to norm of x0 and norm of f0 is equal to 1. So this is very important result. Now here we can see that we can find a functional for a non-zero vectors and whose values at that point is its norm, and the norm of the functional is 1, right? So this is a basically application of a Hahn-Banach theorems. So first I take to prove this result, I take M is a some subspace generated by x0. Now what is x0? x0 is a non-zero vector of n. So M is generated by x0. So this denote the subspace of non-linear space n, and it is spanned by x0, right? Now it means the set M consisting element alpha into x naught such that alpha is a scalars, right? And this is a part of n. Clear? So this is a total norm space n, and this is a M which is a part of n, and the vector of M is alpha into x naught. X naught is some fixed non-zero vector and alpha is a scalar. Alpha is a variable. So alpha vary, it depends upon the field. Now I define a function f. I define a function f from M to field. Now field may be R, field may be C, right? So this is defined by, now what is the element of M, which is alpha x naught, and this goes to alpha into norm of x naught. Here, so alpha is scalar, so this is a equation number 1. So we define a sum function on M. Now my aim is to prove that this is a bounded linear function, just simply functional. Now to prove that, first I prove it is a linear function. This is first step. Second step, it is a bounded function. So to prove it is a linear function, let I take two vector y1 and y2 belongs to M, right? It implies y1 can be written as alpha x naught, y2 can be written as beta x naught, and where alpha, beta are scalars. Clear? So that is the definition of M. That is the vector that depends upon M, and the value of M is a set consisting multiple of x naught. Now these are the y1 and y2 vector of M, and for any scalars, So we can choose any two scalars that depends upon you. You can also choose alpha dash b, beta dash and any other. So I choose alpha dash and beta dash. Then we have f, which is equal to, and this is equal to alpha dash y1 plus beta dash y2. Clear? So this can be written as f, substitute the value of alpha y1 and y2. So this will become alpha dash alpha x naught plus beta dash into beta x naught. Just substitute the value of y1 and y2. So see it very carefully. Now it implies f, so this can be by scalar multiplication. So this can be written as alpha dash alpha into x naught plus beta dash beta, this is in bracket, into x naught. So we take scalars outsides. Now x naught is a common, so this can be written as alpha dash alpha plus beta dash beta into x naught vector. Now I used the definition of the function. By definition, this can be written as alpha dash alpha plus beta dash beta into norm of x0, right? So this can be written in this form. If this can be written in this form, on simplification, this is equal to alpha dash bracket alpha into norm of x0 plus beta dash into beta norm of x0. Now again using the definition of function. So what is this? It is alpha dash f of alpha x naught, and what is this? It is a beta dash f of beta x naught. Clear? So this is equal to alpha dash f of y1 plus beta dash f of y2. So it implies this f from M to F is a linear map. It is a linear map. So that proves the first part. Now second part, it is a bounded functional. And second part, it is a bounded functional and its norm is 1. So this is the second part. Now let y belongs to M. It implies y can be written as alpha x naught because alpha is some scalars. Also we can write it as y1. So I take y. Now f of y, see carefully, which is equal to f of alpha x naught. By definition, it is alpha norm of x naught, right? Clear? After that, if I take absolute value, so this absolute value, this absolute value and this absolute value, so it will convert to absolute value of alpha norm of x0. So this is norm of alpha x0 by using the definition. So this is norm of y, right? So it means f is a bounded function. It is a bounded function, या bounded linear transformation. So bounded functional. So this is a bounded functional. Now next step is third step, to find its norm. So how we can find its norm? So it is a third step. By definition, norm of f, which is a supremum of absolute value of f of y, such that norm of y less than equal to 1, right? So what is this? It is a supremum of, substitute its value, that is a norm of y. And what is norm of y? It is less than equal to 1. So what is its supremum? Its supremum is 1. So we get norm of f, which is equal to 1. Clear? So what we get? We get a f is a bounded linear functional with norm n. So we get, it implies f is m2 f is bounded linear functional, with taking alpha 1, then f of x0 is equal to norm of x0, right? Because f of alpha x0 is equal to alpha times this. If alpha is 1, then this value equal to this. And norm of f, this is equal to 1. Clear? So that we find from this result. Now I will apply the Hahn-Banach theorem. So this functional, so by Hahn-Banach theorem, by Hahn-Banach theorem, f can be extended to functional f0, right? So which is defined on whole space n such that f0 of x0, which is equal to norm of x0, and norm of f0, which is equal to norm of f, since it is 1. So norm of f0 is equal to 1. Clear? So it prove our result. So that is our result, that prove our result. On the basis of this result, we have corollary. Again, that is very important. So what is corollary? So corollary is, the statement of that is, if n is a norm-linear space and x is different from y, then there exists a functional f belongs to n star such that fx not equal to fy. So this is again very important result. So what is that result? So N is a nonlinear space, we know that. If x is not equal to y, right? What is xy? Xy belongs to nonlinear space N. If x is, then there exists a functional f belongs to n star. What is n star? It is a dual space set of all bounded functional from N to field such that f of x not equal to f of y, right? So this is our result. This statement is also known as n star separate n star separate the vector in N, right? It separate the vector in N. Also, it is a definition of 1, 1. Distinct point has distinct image. So it means we can find a 1, 1 functional. So that is the second way to analyze this result. Now to prove this result, so this is very simple based on the previous result, previous theorem. Now solution: x not equal to y, right? It implies x minus y not equal to 0. Clear? If this is not equal to 0, so clearly its norm is non-zero. So remember, this is equation number 1. Now this vector x minus y, this is a non-zero vector and belongs to N, right? N is a nonlinear space. So difference also belongs to this. Then by previous theorem, there exists some functional f belongs to N star such that f of x minus y, which is equal to norm of x minus y and norm of f is equal to 1, and this value is a non-zero. This value is non-zero. If this value is non-zero, it implies f of x minus y non-zero. It implies fx minus fy not equal to 0. It implies f of x not equal to f of y. So that prove our result. Clear? Now next result is, if M is closed subspace of nonlinear space and x naught does not belongs to M, then there exists a functional f naught belongs to n star such that f naught M is equal to 0 and f naught x naught is not equal to 0. So it is again application of a Hahn-Banach theorems, right? Now we already know about the nonlinear space N by M, right? And its vector are x plus M. Clear? So basically its element are x plus M such that x belongs to N. that we know that it is a normed linear space. It is a non-linear space. Clear? So this is a number 1. Now in the given part, x naught does not belongs to M. In the given part, x naught does not belongs to M. It implies x naught plus M is not equal to M, right? So what is M? Basically it is a zero vector of n by M. So remember, it is a zero vector of n by M. Clear? Now this vector, this is, we can also write it as x naught bar. It means also I can write it as x naught bar, which is not equal to 0 vector, and this vector basically belongs to n by M. Now the previous result, by previous result, if some non-zero vector belongs to non-linear space, then there exists a functional. So here we write f, then there exists a functional which belongs to n by M star such that its value x naught bar, which is equal to norm of x0 bar and norm of f, which is equal to 1. Clear? So this is a one unity of field. This statement is also written as f of x naught plus M, which is equal to norm of x naught plus M and norm of f, which is equal to 1. So this is equation number 2 that we find it. Now my purpose is to find f0 belongs to n star. So I need a function from n to field. Clear? And already find that functional from n by M to field. So already find. So just to understand the concept, this is n by M and this is a field. It may be R or C, right? So I have a function from n by M to field. It means this function f, which is from this to this, and its vector are x naught, x plus M time, and vector of this is norm. My requirement is to find a function from n to f. So what will I do? I take n at this place, right? Then find a, construct a this function n to M. When we take the composite of these mapping, then I will get a function from n to field. Clear? So that is my idea. So here I write it as g function. So g is from n to n by M, and the composite function, if I write f0, that will be on later on. So this is f of g. This will be from n to f. Clear? So in the given part, f is a bounded functional that is given, that is proved in equation number 2. We define this functional g. So to prove our result, my requirement is define a g function from n to n by m. This is a natural transformation, nx, which is equal to x plus m for every x belongs to n, right? Now my purpose is to prove it is a bounded functional. So to prove it is a bounded functional, step number 1, let x and y belongs to n, alpha beta are scalars, then g of alpha x plus beta y, this can be written as g, right? By this definition, this can be written as g of alpha x plus beta y, right? And if g of alpha x plus beta y, so this can be written as alpha x plus beta y plus m, right? Clear? So just I used the definition alpha x plus beta y plus m. Now I apply the sum notation, the operation of addition. So this will be alpha x plus m plus beta y plus m. So this is addition notation. Now scalar multiplication, alpha x plus m plus beta y plus m. So this will be alpha into g of x plus beta into g of y. So it means g is a linear transformation. So that is my first part. So I prove first part. Now second part, to prove it is a bounded. Now norm of g of x, this can be written as norm of x plus m. So by definition, it is a infimum of set of norm of x plus m. This small m belongs to capital M, and infimum is less than equal to every vector m belongs to capital M. Now since in particular I take small m, which is 0, and this belongs to capital M. So it implies norm of gx less than equal to norm of x. It implies g is bounded. Clear? So g is bounded. If g is bounded, then also linear transformation. So it implies g from n to n by m, it is a bounded linear transformation. It is not functional, it is a transformation operator. So we reached at our point. Now I repeat once again, this is a n by m and this is a field which is R or C. This mapping is G, and this is a bounded linear transformation, and this is a F. Again it is a bounded linear transformation. The composite map, which is f of g, which is from n to field, so composite map is again bounded linear transformation. Bounded linear transformation, right? Clear? So composite map of bounded linear transformation is again a bounded linear transformation. Now it implies f0, it belongs to n star. So we find a functional. Now next step is to find its value on capital M and also for x naught. So for capital M, if I take this small m belongs to capital M, so f0 of m, which is f of g of m, right? And this is f of g of m. Clear? So first substitute the value of g of m. So this is a f m plus capital M, right? Since m belongs to capital M, then m plus m is equal to capital M. So what we get? We get f of m. Now what is m? M is zero vector of n by m, right? It is a zero vector of m by n. Now by definition, what is this value? This value is equal to norm of m. If norm of m, this is again 0. Clear? So for this value f0 at m, this is equal to 0. Clear? So image of 0 vector is 0. So at the point of m, this value is equal to 0. Clear? So this value we used, that is by equation number 1, because f of x naught plus m is equal to x naught plus m, right? Here I used this concept f of x naught plus m, which is equal to norm of x naught plus m. So here f naught m is equal to norm of m, so this is 0. So this is my first part. This is, and second is the statement of second result is f naught x naught not equal to 0. So that is clear, because f of f naught x naught, right? So this is equal to, by using all the result, this will be norm of x naught plus m by using entire system. This is f of g of x naught. F of g of x naught means x naught plus m. So this is f of x naught plus m, which is equal to its norm, and this norm is non-zero. Clear? So at this point f0 at x0, this is a non-zero values. At that point it is a 0, at this point it is a non-zero, hence the result. So this is again very important result. After that we have example 1, or we can also say that some result again basis on these theorems. That is, if n is a non-linear space, and if n is a non-linear space, then norm of x naught is equal to supremum of, so what is that result? So this is a first example. Clear? So on the basis of these results. Now n is normed linear space. Normed linear space for every x belongs to n. For every x belongs to n, norm of x, which is a supremum of absolute value of fx over norm of f, such that f belongs to n star and this f is non-zero. Clear? So this is non-zero because we divided by norm of f. Now the result is obvious for x equal to 0. So this result is obvious for x equal to 0. This result is obvious. This result is obvious. Now let x is some non-zero vector belongs to n, right? Now we prove that then there exists a functional f naught which belongs to n star such that f0 x, which is equal to norm of x, and norm of f0, which is equal to 1. So this is our given part. Now I will use this result to prove the example. Now in the result, the given part is supremum of absolute value of fx, norm of f belongs to n star, and this f is non-zero. Clear? Now supremum is always greater than equal to its individual member, and I take here f0. So here this will be f0 of x over norm of f0, right? Now norm of f0 is 1, it implies f0 of x. Clear? So this is a supremum. So this is a equation number 1, suppose. Also first part, what is f0x? So that is by this result, this is a norm of x. So this is equation number 1. Now second part, also we know that f is a bounded functional. If bounded functional, so f of x less than equal to norm of f into norm of x, this values. So it implies this value fx over norm of f, which is less than equal to norm of x, right? Clear? Now what is this? If this is less, f belongs to n star and this f is non-zero. If this is individual is less than equal to this, then this set is less than equal to this norm. Then also supremum of this is also less than equal to norm of x. If supremum is also, now from equation number 1 and 2, from 1 it is greater than equal to 2 norm of x, from 2 it is less than equal to, from equation number 1 and 2 we get supremum of absolute value of fx norm of f belongs to n star and f is non-zero. This value is equal to norm of x. So which prove our result. So hence it is result. Hence the result. So that is our result.